I think we are going live, sir.
Shall I start, sir?
Sriram, whether you have checked it, is it online?
It's come for me, sir. It's streaming, sir. One second. One second,
Yes,
sir. I'll just check and tell you.
yes, it has come. It has come. Right.
Okay, sir. Then ma'am can start, sir.
Yes,
Speak.
Okay.
Nagli, you can start.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of PSNA College of Engineering and Technology, a very warm welcome to one and all present here. I'm glad to invite you all for this 6 weeks, 12 sessions online interview training program conducting by PSNA Alumni Association. We are so excited to have you all here for our last week and 11th session of this webinar series. At this moment, I would like to thank our pro-chairman, Rotarian RSK Raghuram sir, our respected principal, Dr. D. Vasudevan sir, and our alumni association in charge, Dr. R. Kannan sir, head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, for their continuous support and motivation to organize this webinar and the series of webinars. And also extend my sincere and special thanks to our proud alumni of 1996 batch of our college for bringing these opportunities to our students and making this event a grand success. Title of the program is Climbing the Peak in Your Job Interview. Topic of today's webinar is to talk about success in postgraduate entrance exam and engineering jobs, personal finance and money management. We have four eminent speakers, experts from various fields here. Let me introduce about the speakers of this wonderful session. Our first speaker is Mr. Sachin Sundar Nagaraju, President, Plant Operations, Argument Pharmaceuticals, Madurai. He is a second generation entrepreneur. He is a bachelor's in pharmacy from KM College of Pharmacy, Madurai, and then MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow, one of the country's top management schools. He is currently focused to steer his family business and build as a world-class organization. Our next speaker is Mr. Jidendran Nair, a senior client relationship manager with more than 24 years of experience in the IT industry across different verticals. He has worked in 9 different countries and for some very prestigious clients like Airbus, Apple, JBMC, and etc. He has contributed towards enhancement of productivity of teams. He has also been an entrepreneur and was involved with multiple different ventures. And our next speaker is Mr. Veerbhadra Kumar Kesavan, innovator, serial entrepreneur, active investor, and a Guinness World Record holder, living in New Jersey for the past 20 years. Started as a civil engineer in Chennai, working with Ford Car Project, Lorry Backer, and etc. Founder and co-founder of multiple business entities. He won many creative and product design awards. He served as a judge in the Emmy Awards panel, Advanced Media Committee in the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. Passionate trader and active investor in pro IPO innovation companies. Our fourth speaker is Mr. Prabhu Sankar, Zonal Technical Support Manager, Wipro GE Healthcare. After graduating with Electronics and Communication Engineering, started his career with Hitachi Medical Equipment for 4 years and then with Wipro GE Healthcare for last 15 years. He is currently working as a zonal technical support manager, supporting the MRI equipment installed across South India, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. Our next speaker is Mr. Harihar Subramanian. He is the director, Group Finance IT, UBS Financial Services, New York. After graduation from PSNA, he studied CDAC from Pune for 6 months and had worked in the Tata Infotech Bangalore for a few years. And for last 20 years, he worked in multiple firms in USA. We are so happy to have you all here. I would like to welcome all the speakers of the session and request you to carry over the session.
Thank you very much, Madeline ma'am. It was a wonderful introduction for all the speakers and to the introduction of the meeting. Thank you for all the alumni staff and alumni management and the college management. You are truly a dream team for us. Our alumni sincerely thank you for the support for this PALM Alumni Webinar Initiative. And we extend our sincere thanks to PSNA CET management, Dr. Raghuram sir, Dr. D. Vasudevan sir, and Dr. Kannan sir, who has been part of the alumni management and the college management. I sincerely extend the wonderful dream team webinar coordinators from our mechanical department, Mr. Harikanan sir, Dr. Sridhar sir, Ms. Madeline ma'am, Jamuna ma'am, Saravanan sir, Subhaya sir, Vishwanath sir, and Paul Pandey sir. And from civil, I truly extend our thanks to Mr. Ranjit Babu sir, Mr. Sabarishan sir, Mr. T. Challadurai sir, Dr. Karthikeyan sir, Dr. Karthikeyan sir, Ms. Karthika ma'am, Mr. Sriram sir, Ms. Vinodini ma'am, and Dr. Sindhya ma'am. Without your full support and the seamless webinars that you have been managing us, it wouldn't be truly possible for us as an alumni and for the students and for the listeners who are and the viewers who are watching this webinar. So thank you and a warm welcome to all the webinar listeners and watchers for today. I would like to first quickly recap, given that we have eminent speakers for today and they have a lot of information to share us. So I'm going to skip my book section in the interest of hearing more from our speakers today. But I'll just quickly recap what we have done in the last 5 weeks or 10 sessions. We introduced our own PSNA alumni strategy for approaching job interviews and succeeding. We call it as PALM: presentation, awareness, leadership, managing people and team. If the students are equipped with the self-development skills, attitude and aptitude skills, and develop their presentation skills, they could succeed in their interview and they can wow that one person who is the interviewer that they need to focus on. In addition to the self-development and leadership skills, they have to develop their awareness, both industry awareness, general knowledge, the domain knowledge, and the current technology trends. So we focused a couple of sessions on industry awareness and general knowledge and current technology trends. Then leadership plays a major role. How we act, what we do, whether we do something or don't do something, it builds our brand and it builds our leadership profile. So it's important to focus on leadership skills. So we talked about it with our esteemed alumni speakers. And we also had a session focused on building a winning resume by two eminent HR speakers, one from Hexaware Technologies, Mr. Hari Srinivasan, another one was HR specialist, Ms. Kate Totino from USA. So we focused on building a winning resume. We went through a few resumes online. We gave feedbacks on how the resume can be shaped up. And then we were having sessions last couple of weeks on managing people and teams, how to work as a teamwork. And we had last week, we focused on group discussions and we focused on enterprise resource planning software packages. Why? Because a business works as a unit of multiple subunits and it involves a team to succeed and it involves your entire business to come together, and with the ERP packages, with the softwares that are available, management will be able to take precise decision on how they want to conduct their operations and how to generate revenue and reduce cost. And on last Sunday, we focused on group discussions. We demonstrated live with our eminent speakers leading the group discussion session, and we had our students participate in the group discussions, and there were feedback given on how they could improve during their group discussions when they do it in real time. So with all these skills, self-presentation, attitude, brand building, profile, leadership profile building, candidates, industry awareness, technology trends, managing people, working as a team, and excelling in group discussions and building a strong resume, with all these skills, we truly believe, our alumni truly believes that our PALM strategy will help and shape students' preparation towards interviews and succeed. We also have the acronym PALM, stands for PSNA Alumni Leadership and Mentoring Initiative. So with this initiative, we brought this strategy for the benefit of our own students and for their success in future. We had eminent speakers, Mr. Arun Ganesh, along with me. On the week 1, we had Mr. Anil Prabhu, Mr. Srirangan Rajagopal, Aragi Meenakshi, Revati, Sunil, and Suresh, esteemed speakers. Some of them are our alumni, some of them are distinguished external speakers. On the industry awareness topic, we had Mr. Sunil Lal, Mr. Deepak Mohite, Mr. Samir Raibagi on cybersecurity, Mr. Vamsi on machine learning. Then we had a focus session on building the resumes with Ms. Kate Tino and Mr. Hari Srinivasan. And last week we had ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, Mr. Senthil Murugan, Mr. Kamaraj, Mr. Muthuraja, and Mr. Rajesh on business analytics. Our group discussion session was led by Mr. Srikanth, Mr. Subramanian, and Mr. Senthil, and with the help of students. Today, we have our distinguished guest, Mr. Sachin Sundar Nagaraju, Acumen Pharmaceuticals, President Plant Operations. We have Mr. Jitendra Nair, Senior Client Relationship, CenturyLink Technology Solutions. Our good friend, Mr. Veerabhadra Kumar Kesavan, entrepreneur, CEO and founder, and Mr. Prabhu Shankar, Zonal Technical Support Manager from Wipro Healthcare. We warmly welcome all the speakers and all the staffs and students listening to this webinar. On a weekly basis, we have also been helping our students with Toastmasters session on Saturdays. It improves their communication skills, it improves their confidence, and you can see on an average, we have 13 to 15 students participating and mentors helping them to grow their skills. We have themes on every week and students prepare their quotes, they prepare and they deliver their speeches. We truly believe it improves their communication skills and helps them succeed in the interview. We also have our college mobile app, PSNA CET Connect. It helps all our PSNA alumni, our staff, students to communicate and collaborate with each other and get instant notifications on any updates. The app is available to be downloaded in Apple Store as well as Google Play Store. With that, we'll be first starting with our first session led by Mr. Sachin Sundar Nagaraju. He's going to talk on success in postgraduate entrance exams. Mr. Sachin, a warm welcome to you and the stage is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hari. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, perfectly.
Am I audible?
Yeah, please go.
Thank you. A very good evening all. And looking at the array of speakers today, just listening to the introductions, I'm more keen on hearing them speak rather than my own talk. Because I have completed my MBA in 2018 and I'm just into the real world, probably 2 years into the real world. And I can see an eminent list of speakers. So great job to the organizing team, the Alumni Association of PSNA for doing this. And good evening to the aspiring minds that I'm going to address today. I call you aspiring because roughly under 10% of our country's population end up doing a post-graduation. So when you're going to, if you're signed up for the session and I'm going to talk to you about post-graduation, then you are already a blessed category of people. You're in the top 10% of the country who are looking forward to do a post-graduation after your undergraduation. Now, before I get into my topic, I just want to thank Hari for and also appreciate him for doing such a wonderful initiative. And secondly, over the last 3-4 weeks, I've spoken on a couple of webinars ranging from 1 to 1.5 hours, whereas today we've been given slots of 15-20 minutes, which I feel is better. Having a 1 hour, 1.5 hour session literally bores everybody. So good job to the team. And with that, let me get right into my topic. So to spill out the agenda for all of you today, we're going to discuss on 3 topics. Though the topic says success in PG entrance exams, let me break it down for you. Let me break it down and give it in 3 different capsules. Number 1 is post-graduation options post-engineering. What are the postgraduate options that you have post-engineering? Number 2, the process of cracking an exam. The process of cracking an exam. And number 3, something which we all talk about, the luck factor. When it comes to competitive exams, we'll talk about the luck factor. We're going to discuss 3 things in the next 15 minutes. postgraduate options post-engineering, process of cracking the exam, and 3, the luck factor. So the first point is pretty straightforward. What are the PG options available post your engineering? So I ventured into the management stream. So after your undergraduation, you have an option to do post-graduation in management, which is basically your MBA or PGC, PGDM, which is postgraduate diploma in management. So there are postgraduate courses in the management sector. Number 2 is in your core field. If you want to do a master's of engineering, master's in engineering in whichever field you choose, aeronautical, civil, whatever, you're better judge of that. And number 3 is also, I know friends who completed the engineering and went on to do their MS in foreign universities. So number 3. And there's the fourth option, which I also want to stress today, which is the civil service options in our country, which is also very similar to the postgraduate options. I see a few people going down that path and becoming very successful. So that is also an option for your postgraduate. After your engineering, if you want to get into the civil services, that's a wonderful aspiration, like the IAS, IPS, IRS, and many more. So with me listing down these variety of entrance exams that you have, let's get into the second and the most meaty topic for today, the process of cracking an competitive exam, because that is what is very difficult. And I speak from my own experience because I have written this exam called CAT, Common Admission Test, to get into IIM Lucknow. And this exam is one of the toughest exams in our country. It's somewhere bidded against the IAS exam, the UPSC exam. And I speak from my own experience because I had attended this exam twice. The first time, I did not get the enough percentile that I required. I was not the number 1 in that time. I did not get the admit, and I had to restart again and give it the second time to get into the college which I wanted to. So talking from my own experience, it is not easy. I had failed once, and then I was able to pick it up and go and do an MBA for the second time. So if you're all wondering what is the golden rule to crack postgraduate exams, again, let me break it down into 3. And we're going to take a sports analogy today because most of us in India, we follow cricket, which is a sport close to our heart. And there are also other sports like football, which is picking up in India. There's tennis. There are many sports that we look up to. So let me drop parallels with sports to make it even simpler of the 3 steps that you need to crack a competitive exam. The 3 different rules are: 1 is to practice with intensity and perform with passion. Practice with intensity and perform with passion. Number 2 is to follow your instinct. In sports, they say play a natural game. And number 3 is never miss the easy one. Let me again break it down and let's get into each part in detail. In the first attempt, when I took this examination, we all know this concept of mock exams, right? We all write mock exams. We prepare to take a very similar test in a simulated environment, and we see how do we fare against the other candidates and what is the mark we get. So in my first attempt, what really happened was I gave around 20 to 25 mock CAT exams. And by the time I reached the actual exam, by the time I was in the rear on the D-day, I was sitting in front of the computer doing the main exam. I was already burned out. I was already tired of giving so many exams back one after the other. I was already burned out. When it came to the final exam, my mindset was, oh, that there is an exam to complete. Let me finish it, then I'm going to relax. I've put in so many years, I've put in so many months, and I've put in 20, 25 mock exams. Now I'm seriously tired. Let me get over with it. So my attitude on that day was to just complete the exam, and I was burned out, and I did pathetic. I did not get a good percentile, and I failed. I failed in my aspiration to get into a good college. That is where I talk this first point, which is practice with intensity and perform with passion. If you're a fan of Chennai Super Kings, you would have watched videos of Mahendra Singh Dhoni practicing in the net and him playing the real game. Or if you're a fan of Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, or if you talk about football or tennis or whatever sport it is, if you look at their practice videos, you can see the intensity with which they practice. It's usually the net practice session in a simulated environment where they're practicing with a great intensity. They're sweating out. They're hitting the same ball 100 times, 200 times. They're practicing multiple times. When it comes to D-Day, they're performing with that same intensity, and topped upon it is the aspiration to perform, or which is we call the passion to do something. So when you're going for an entrance exam, what I realized in my second attempt is to go and do it with a sense of joy. I did not do a lot of practice exams before my second attempt. I did around 10 to 15 exams, spaced out, equally spaced out over 10 days or 15 days. I gave mock exams. And when it came to the main day, I went with an attitude of feeling, these people are going to throw some tough questions at me. Let me crack it. And it did not come up on my own. My mentor, Mr. Rajesh, I had a mentor named Rajesh. He was helping me out. And he said, when you're going to the main final exam, go with this attitude that the examiner is throwing challenges at you and you have the opportunity to prove that you're right. Go and do it with a sense of joy, the happiness of answering each question. Because a competitive exam is just like a sport. You're not ranked based on the number of marks you get. You might get 500 out of 600. You might get 99 on 100, but that does not matter. Are you in the top 10 people that take the exam? Are you in the top, if it's 2 lakh people, are you in the top 1,000, 2,000 people who take the exam? It's against the other person. So it's important to go in with the joy and happiness of writing an exam. This is something about the mindset aspect when you're doing in a competitive exam. Number 2 is follow your instinct. So I'm going on this exam test taking strategies because what I heard from the brief was that you've already attended focus sessions on group discussion, preparation, and all that. So I'm going to give you the final strategies that you should be following. And number 2, which we're going to discuss today, is follow your instinct. In cricket, in any other sport, a senior batsman a veteran goes to a rookie and says, don't try and adapt someone's style, follow your own style. Do play a natural game and follow your instinct. That's very true when it comes to competitive exams, because when I sat for a competitive exam, I used to get an answer for a question which looked a little tough, but I got the answer in 30 seconds. I started doubting myself. I think no, the answer it's not that easy. Maybe I got it wrong. Let me work it out again. I take my pen, I start working it out again from the first, and then I get the same answer. And I think, okay, maybe it is right. I give it. When it comes to your subjective questions, which is in where we are tested on our language skills. Most of the exams have a section for the verbal ability and stuff like that. And in those sections, your instinct says, okay, this is the answer. But what happens? You start doubting yourself. You start thinking, maybe I'm not thinking it right. Let me recheck it. When you get it, doing it multiple times, you actually end up selecting the wrong option, whereas your instinct told you the right option. So when you're giving a competitive exam, it's okay to follow your instinct because your accuracy rate is always going to be 70 to 80%. So if you're trying to go against your instinct, that is when your accuracy might fall down to 30, 40%, and you might not get the dream college or the dream post-graduation option that you're looking for. And number 3 is never miss the easy one. I had a smile on my face when I was writing this down because this doesn't feature in the list of many people. But if you look at, I recently watch and read a lot about Virat Kohli and how he's grown from his 2012 days to the captaining the Indian cricket team. And we all look at players like this, Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, on the way they play their glorious shots. But if they are playing, say, 100 balls in a cricket match, probably 10 balls are very difficult to face. Whereas there are 50% loose balls, which they hit and make the best of it. 50 to 60% of their runs come from the loose ball, which is pitched with an intent of hitting the stump, but it misses and these guys hit them for the hole or the cover, or whatever it is. So in any exam, it is important to realize that there are going to be they're going to be freebies, easy questions. So you should be focusing on attending those 3 questions, and it's okay if you get an answer for a question in the first 25, 30 seconds. It is going to be right. Follow your instincts and pick up the easy one. Because I've had friends who've given competitive exams, they come back, and when they discuss it with other people, they realize if the exam had, say, 45 questions, there were some easy questions between the 35 to 45, and they missed it because they started from number 1. And by the time the time was over, they reached 30 questions and they answered, say, 15. And they were easy ones towards the end, which they missed out. Had they opened the easy questions first, they would have been more confident in the way they were doing the exam. So it's important to know that there are going to be easy questions. And when I was preparing for CAT, my mentor told me, whenever you get an exam paper, be it in your school, your college, your competitive exam, spend the first 5 minutes in going through all the questions. Just have a brief or quickly watch through each question that you have and pick up the easy ones and quickly solve them. You get the marks, you get the right answers, you also get the confidence that, okay, I've progressed in this exam, and then you can attack the top. So these are the 3 test taking rules that I followed and it has worked for me. Number 1 is to practice with intensity and perform with passion, like a cricketer, like a sportsman. Follow your instincts, which is your natural game. And number 3, never miss the easy one. So having said that, let me move to my final topic, which is the luck factor. Even I have complained many times that this is not my lucky day. I did not do well. Luck was not with me. But over a period, what I realized is luck is external, and whatever hard work you put in is internal. Let me break it down for you. Luck is basically your competition, the caliber of your competition. Luck is nothing more or nothing less than that when it comes to competitive exams. Whatever hard work, whatever challenges you have to go through that to come through the main day. And then luck is how good your opponent or how bad your opponent is. In a competitive exam, you're always competing against the other 3, 4, 10 lakh people that you're taking a test with. So on that particular day, on that particular question, it might be that you are better and the other person isn't. And that is how you go on top of the rank. So always don't count on the luck factor. It is based on your peer, and it might happen one day, it might not happen the other day. But preparation is the key. Luck happens in most of our lives. There is luck involved in competitive exams, but it comes in form of your competition and not from you. With this, we've covered the 3 topics that we started with: post-graduation options, post-engineering, process of cracking the exams, and 3, the luck factor. Thank you. I can see someone summarizing it for me. Thanks a lot. Now, I want to leave you all with a couple of thoughts. Number 1 is about the preparedness. We human beings have this tendency of overlooking a few things. We are so focused on preparing for the exam that you forget there are other things to the admission process. Like, we are so focused in our work, in our daily routine work, that we forget there are so many beautiful things to life. People advise you take vacation. People who are working in this group might relate with me. It so happens that you're so focused on your work that you forget there are many other aspects to life. There is fun, there's music, there's travel, there's sports, there's family, there's many things. Similarly, to get an admission in a college you want, or to sign up for the course that you want, the entrance exam is not the only criteria that you'll have to fulfill. I've known friends who've given the CAT exam, they've cracked it successfully. Then they go to the interview process, they go to the essay rating, the group discussion process, and they fail there, because that is where you have the elite crowd coming up. In a CAT examination for MBA, you have around 2.5 lakh people taking it every year. It's not difficult to make it to the top 20,000. It's difficult to make it to the top 2,000. The top 20,000 clears the exam and they're selected. And these 20,000 get into the process of essay writing, group discussion, panel interviews. So this is where your mindset comes into play. You'll have to think that have a positive mindset, saying that I'm going to clear these exams, and look ahead. Be prepared that what if you clear this exam? You're going to clear, you have the other rounds coming, you have interviews, you have group discussions. Fortunately, your alumni association is already preparing you for that. But it's important for you to also realize that those things are important, because it might be too late if you want to start preparation after you've got a great score in your exam. And then you have hardly 15 days window before you can give the interview and get an admission. So be prepared. And number 2, the last thought I want to leave all of you with is an anecdote. It's something which I heard Shah Rukh Khan say recently. I hope you all know Shah Rukh Khan, the Bollywood star. Though I'm not a big fan of his acting, I'm a big fan of how successful he is. He's a huge success in the Bollywood, or a guy who's come from very poor background, traveling all the way from Delhi, the northern India, to Mumbai and setting up, trying to act in small commercials and then becoming a superstar. In an interview, I hear there was this interviewer who asked a question to Shah Rukh Khan. He asked Shah Rukh Bhai, you're great, you're successful. Can you tell us the secret of your success? Shah Rukh Khan smiles and says, the secret of my success is hard work. The interviewer on the other side laughs even louder. He says, Shah Rukh Khan, everyone puts in hard work. Most of us put hard work in what we do. We spend hours, we toil, we do whatever is required to achieve what we want. So hard work is not the key factor. What do you mean by hard work? And then Shah Rukh Khan makes the killer statement. He says, we all put hard work to get an opportunity. We all put hard work to get that opportunity that we want. But I, as Shah Rukh Khan, I put hard work after I get the opportunity. No one can do as hard work as me once I've gotten the opportunity. It sounded even nice when I heard it in Hindi. He said, "Mauka milne ke baad mujhse zyada kaam koi nahi kar sakta." In Hindi, in English, it means after I get an opportunity, no one can work harder than I do. So this is something interesting and something that we'll have to reflect about. We all work hard to get that admission, to get that opportunity, to get that job, to get that whatever that you're aspiring for. But after we get that, are we putting in the enough hard work that is required to be successful in that? It's important for your exams, it's important for your career and whatever it is, even relationship, it's very important. So I want to leave you with this thought that hard work is important to get an opportunity, but it is even more important after you get the opportunity. With that, I'll wrap up the session and I'll be open for questions towards the end when Hari gives the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sachin. Such a wonderful information to hear from you, hear from your valuable experience. I learned a lot. I'm sure our students learned a lot. The way how you said it in a very 3 key points, the golden rules, practicing with intensity and performing with passion, play your natural game and never miss an easy one. And then finally, you kicked it off with hard work. Hard work is very essential. Once you get the opportunity, perform. I truly believe, and I can resonate with whatever you have said. In fact, not long ago, just 1 month back in my town hall meeting in UBS, head of operations across the globe, he made a statement, and his statement was, I may not be the smartest managing director among my peers in any group executive board, but I can definitely and confidently tell you, I'm one of the most hardworking managing director who knows his skills and who knows how to get things done. I think hard work truly stays and give you that cutting edge that if you put your best, leave it to the rest, and your action will inspire and get you to the success line. So thank you very much for putting all the key information in such a short time. I'm sure we are going to love to hear you in our Q&A panel session. So thank you, Mr. Sachin. Thanks for your wonderful time and wonderful speech on this.
Thank you.
Sure. With that, I would request our next speaker of the day, Mr. Prabhu Shankar, to join us and talk about, given the COVID scenarios, how the healthcare industry has changed, what kind of engineering jobs are available for our current students, either in management or in engineering, and how they can succeed in getting engineering jobs. Prabhu, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Hari. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good morning to you, Hari, and all other friends who have joined from the other part of the world. I would first like to thank our PSNA management for giving this opportunity. And I would also want to thank the staff who have set up a platform for sharing this. Hari, do you want me to share or? Hari?
Yeah, Prabhu, I'm already
Yeah.
sharing. Do you want to share
Okay.
or?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not see that. Okay. Thank you. So, and special thanks to you, Hari, for setting up, so coordinating such a, I would say a very massive event, because it's running over a period of 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. With that, I would like to get into the topic. So today, in this scenario of this pandemic, healthcare is everywhere, and people who are looking for opportunities are little worried or optimistic. So I would say, so healthcare is one of the industries today which is in the limelight or happening industry. And even though even in healthcare, there are a lot of industries within which it is growing, some other industries are going slowly. Okay. So today what I wanted to give you is a background of some of the healthcare industry equipments, and also I want to pick one of the equipment and then give you a very brief background, so that you will be able to understand the opportunities which are available in the industry. In this presentation, I have just chosen only one. However, you can go and do the same thing for any one of these inside this slide. So getting into the healthcare equipment, the equipments can be classified broadly as either a diagnostic equipment or a therapeutic equipment. As you can infer from the name, diagnostic is the one which is used to diagnose a problem or a disease with the patient, and therapeutic equipment are the ones which are used to treat the patient, basically therapy. So here are the list of some diagnostic equipments. The list is not exhaustive. There are a lot of other things which I could not list in this. So the regular electrocardiogram or the ECG machines, what you see in the hospitals, or the X-ray machines, the ultrasonography, the CT scanners, MRI scanners, or now widely popular this laboratory equipments which is used to test for the COVID. So these are all diagnostic equipments. And the other set of equipments which are used in therapy, some of them I've listed here, like the linear accelerator, proton therapy, the lithotripsy or cath lab. To name one, the linear accelerator is the one which is used to treat treat the patient, cancer patients, basically. Hey, can we move to the next one? Okay. Today, I wanted to choose one of the diagnostic equipment to just give you a very brief background of what it is, and then what is inside the equipment, because as an engineer, we will be interested to know what is inside the equipment, and then I will also try and associate what are the job opportunities available for those equipment, those hardware. So what is an MRI scanner? Probably many of you have heard, and the picture what you see in the slide, some of you might have seen it physically, some of you might have seen it on the pictures. Thanks to the movies, you might have seen this in the movies also. So magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, stands for magnetic resonance imaging. This is a technique to collect the data from the patient, a diagnostic data basically. The patient is placed inside a very strong magnetic field, and by using or employing a non-ionizing radio frequency signals, the data from the patient is collected. And once the data is collected, Hari, just one more. Yeah, you can see an image, what you see on the screen, not one, many of these. On what you see on the screen is a cross-sectional view of a patient brain. You can see the anatomy, where you can see a lot of other parts are marked. So this is a cross-sectional view, which is generally called as a sagittal view. So this is basically what comes out of an MRI scanner when the patient goes in. When you see on the console, you see the image on the monitor. Okay, can we move one more? Yeah. So this is yeah. So the scanner, whatever you saw on the slide earlier, a cross-sectional view of the scanner is what you see in the picture. So this cross-sectional view shows you a scanner with a patient who is inside the scanner. So this is how, when you look outside with the covers closed, you can see this. But however, as an engineer, we will be interested to know what is inside. How does it work? What are the hardware inside that? Because we all know that there can be some hardware which is required to do all these activities. So what are those hardwares? Hari, one more. Okay. So whatever you see on the left side, when you decode it, or when you put that, when you open it, you can see all these things. Though I have shown it only as a block diagram, all of these will look huge. So you see a magnet, some gradient coils, RF coils, some tables, detectors, computers, and film, and all those things. So all these components combine together, work synchronously to get an image from the patient, out of the patient. So from the name, you can understand that there are a lot of coils, there are some amplifiers, some computers, all these items are there. With this, let us go and see what opportunities are available for engineers in doing this. So it's the same slide, same picture what you've seen in the previous page. So we have seen computers as part of this system, which is like the brain or the master of the system. So the computer is the one which controls the whole system. It has to coordinate because a lot of hardwares are involved. So the system might physically, probably if you have seen, will be accommodated in 3 rooms. So you can imagine how big it will be. So there will be interconnections between that. And all these things should work synchronously. So the computer is the master which starts controlling all these things. So when you have computer, then you naturally require somebody who has some experience in this computer hardware, the software programming, because it requires a lot of programming. Because you collect the data from the patient, the data has to be processed, post-processed, and then it has to be displayed. So for that, you require a lot of programming. There are specialized programmers available for doing this. So those jobs are available. Computer hardware jobs are available. The next section is the RF, because we have seen that RF is radio frequency. We have seen that the scanner employs non-ionizing radio frequency signal, which is usually in the range of kilowatts, to collect the data or encode the data from the patient. So for that, you need an RF coil. RF coil is nothing but an RF antenna, an amplifier. So this requires some good RF engineering, electronics engineering, some communication engineering. Why this is so critical for an RF engineering is because this requires the RF energy to be applied on the patient, and we have to be careful not to burn the patient. Okay. The next one, or the major, or I would call the heart of the scanner, is the magnet, because we said we require a very powerful magnet. But to make a very powerful magnet in the range of probably we call it in Tesla, 1.5 Tesla, and which is in other words, it is 15,000 Gauss. So if you want to compare it with the Earth's magnetic field, Earth's magnetic field is 0.25 Gauss. So you can imagine how powerful this magnet will be. So to get such a powerful magnet, we know that we pass current in a coil to make it make a coil, create a magnetic field. However, there will be a lot of heat generated, resistance, all those challenges. To overcome this, the magnet, what is typically used in all the MR scanners, is a superconductive magnet. When it is superconductive, you require it to be cooled by a cryogen. Cryogen is nothing but a gas which is in the form of liquid. So to handle that, we need a cryogenic engineering background person to design that, then mechanical engineering person, thermal engineering, because the cryogen won't stay as liquid, so it requires a constant cooling. Okay, having made this equipment, having built this from the scratch, then this has to be commissioned at a place like a hospital or a diagnostic center. So who will do that? There comes the people like the field service engineer, or the project managers. Why do we need a project manager? The project manager usually is a civil engineering person or an architectural background person, because the magnet which we have talked about weighs around anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 kgs. So you can imagine how heavy it is. And then this involves a lot of other hardwares to be interconnected. So a lot of structural and then civil planning is required in this. So we require a project manager who has got a background in structural or civil engineering or architectural engineering. A field service engineer who probably can be from any background, like I have an electronics and communication engineering, somebody has biomedical engineering. They go and commission these equipments because they have to interconnect this, then power up, and then make it work, calibrate all those things. So we require a field service engineer. What is the role of a remote support engineer or an engineer who does work remotely? All these components in the scanner can go wrong anytime. Whenever it goes wrong, you lose time on doing the patient scan. So we have a remote support engineer who can connect to the equipment remotely and then fix it or try to fix it. Hari, can we move one more? Yeah. So I have mentioned one called a system architect. Who is an architect? Architect is the one who builds or plans for the whole structure. So here the job of the architect is to understand all this hardware and then try and put it into a design. So system architects are there. Usually they are called scientists. So there you have opportunities for that. Okay. So what are the essential skills required for an engineer to be in healthcare? Though I have listed this only for healthcare, however, many of these can be common. The first skill, this being a core engineering job, you require knowledge in the core subject. If you are an electronics and electrical engineer, you should have a good understanding of the fundamentals of the electrical and electronic basics.
Prabhu, your voice is going feeble. Can you keep it near?
Is it better now? Is it better now? Okay, thank you. Yeah. So the next skill is the application knowledge of the subject. What do I mean by application knowledge? Is you may be very strong in the core subject. However, you should also be very strong or fundamentally able to understand where this knowledge is applied practically. And then you require analytical thinking, because as you have seen, a lot of components work together. So you should be able to understand and then analyze the whole thing holistically. And then you should also require a multidisciplinary exposure, which means you should have knowledge of other things. Like in this, if you see, you have seen the RF, though you may have a background of electrical engineering, you may not have touched about RF engineering, but you would require RF engineering to be, a knowledge in RF engineering to understand this. So you should start working on that. You should be open to learn those things. And most important thing is acquaintance with computers and IT. Most of you are very familiar, unlike us, you are all familiar with this. However, the knowledge on networking probably you should work on and improve. And there are a list of some soft skills which I have put in here, though this can be common to other jobs also. Communication, the clarity in conveying a message. Why this becomes very important in this field is because you will probably be working with doctors who are treating patients. So you should be very careful in communicating or committing something. So that's how communication becomes important. Teamwork is, again, like any other industry, teamwork is very, very critical. However, in this case, you have seen this. It's like a huge project, so you should be working with others. So teamwork is critical. Then problem solving. You should always approach a problem, an issue. If the system is down, so you have to be on your toes so that you can fix it so the scanner can be turned over to the customer because it is working to save a patient's life. So yeah, and planning and organizing, like in any other job, planning and organizing, prioritizing your essential activities over the non-essential is a key soft skill. Learning new technology, because again these things will keep changing, like your any other, your computers, your other mobiles or anything. There are new technologies which keep coming, evolving, so you should be up to date with that. Right. Yeah, Ari, next. With that, I have come to the end of whatever I wanted to convey. Thank you for listening to me. Thanks, Hari. I think you can move to others.
It's a wonderful introduction to how all these engineering disciplines come together. I've seen some of our current students or even graduates who passed out before saying that I'm from a mechanical background. Why do I need to know computer? I'm not used to programming. I don't like programming. But the way that you have put together, just taking one equipment like a scanner and MCR scanner and showing how different engineering disciplines interact and connect with one another, that's an awesome eye-opener for all of the engineering students. And you also showed how a civil engineering student plays a key role in all these things to act as an architect. And I'm sure Veera will smile on his side when I say this. And I think it's so proud that we have such a management and engineering graduates who are able to come together. And this is not an equipment. Someone can think it is an equipment. Someone can think it's assisting doctor who is saving life, and indirectly people who are working behind these equipments and putting together, they are saving someone's life. So it's such a crucial equipment, and our engineering gets applied, our thinking gets applied into these kind of life-saving equipments and technologies. That's a very great eye-opener for you. Thank you for putting us so simplistically. I know your entire career has been built over this, but your 20 years of your career, you're put in front of us
Yeah.
about 20 minutes.
True.
That shows your depth of expertise and depth of your subject knowledge. So thank you very much. I will once again connect with you and talk to you during our Q&A panel. We'll go to the next session now. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm curious. The next two speakers I have is one from electronics communication engineering, and the other one is from civil engineering. Now, it's so interesting that we are not going to talk about anything about engineering at all. It's about the lessons required for living a financial, secured, and independent life. We believe, our alumni believes, that students should not only know about their technical knowledge, not only about their communication knowledge, but all of us should know how to handle money, how to handle finance when we, not only during our college years, but also when you get a job, suddenly you get open to the world of giving you more money than you ever imagined in your life. You get 25K per month or 50K per month, or even sometimes 1 to 2 lakh or 4 lakhs per month, who knows? But how do you handle it? What are the essence? What are the fundamental backbone of managing finance in someone's life? For that, I'm bringing you two distinguished speakers based on the practical experience right in front of you to talk to you about it. Jitu and Veera, welcome to the stage. The stage is yours.
Hi, thank you, Hari. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you all, my PSN alumni for bringing this stage, and my co-speakers, staffs, management, and guests, and all my friends all over the world in all time zones. Good evening and good morning to you all. So let me share my screen, and this is a little dry topic, and just we want to make it like a group discussion, and definitely we don't want to put anyone into sleep, especially it's a Saturday evening most. So let me share my screen, and we'll go with the presentation. So it can be interactive. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to share. Can you share the? Can I share or?
Yeah, I can share, no problem. Yeah.
Yes, it's disabled for.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm sharing you. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah. You can give control to me. Right? I can share. I have it.
Okay. You're already a host. Go ahead.
Is this host disabled participant screen sharing?
Okay. All right.
Good. While the presentation and technical things are being taken care, right? Like Veera was mentioning, this is a very, very dry subject, but this is a very crucial subject too, right? Because your at the end of the day, your success depends on how well you manage your money. The financial pressures that can come to you can make or break a person, right? So that's something that you need to be aware of. Veera, I think you can take forward. Yeah.
Yeah. See, this sessions, the today's session is not about talking anything about abstract concept or an idea. This is and this topic is not much covered in any schools or colleges. Yeah. And then so here the objective of our discussion is to have some immediate takeaways and to spark some additional thoughts for your financial futures, because the students you may have a choice. It may be don't think this is a very something like a very advanced topic. So as of now, the priority for you to get into a good job and to move forward in your career. But this is something to keep parallelly conscious in your mind. These are like and always be conscious of when you make the important financial decisions in your life. That may be after you go to the job, that may be your first car, or it may be your first credit card, or your job, or, whatever it may be. So just it helps in so always be conscious of the financial management. So it helps a lot, and so that we are not stressed in the long run. So here, when you come to the financial management, it's initially this is the thought. What thought is the intention? It's the intent to learn this and to have to make a wise choices throughout the life, right? It can be from a small things to buying a real estate property or anything like that. And you understand the leverage, you understand the arbitrage, and then you understand the time value. So these are the four things, or four ingredients that we feel that is very critical for a financial success. Move to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, what is understanding the job security versus income security? So what I ask Hari or Jitu, so what is your thoughts on this? Is there something like a job security that exists in the world, or is there? So what it's all about?
That is a good question, Veera. Actually, what happens is we all have this notion that you get a job, you're settled for life. That was good and true in terms when our parents were at the job, when it was government jobs and everything, right? But now the scenario has changed, right? Now the problem is there is no job security itself. Unfortunately, like you think, right? Everything is tied to that. So yeah, there is no job security. That's the honest answer.
Yeah, so I have a different take on it. I truly believe there are security jobs, but there are no jobs with security. So whether it's a cyber security or a physical security, there are always going to be security jobs, but there are no jobs with security. You're true. Go ahead, Veera.
Yeah, you can go to. So there are like additional points that has to come into the slide. So actually, typically, there is nothing like a job security. So the actual statistics. So 1 in 4 workers in world will have a secure job. So and then it's all the bottom line comes to income security. So that's what it. So just to understand the concept that there is nothing like a job security. So job security is completely it's a myth. and it's income security that matters. That matters the lot, and in the income security, that means it's having the source of consistent income throughout your life, and then how you manage things and how how you're financially, that decides what college to go and what where your kids has to study, what car you drive, and where you live, and so all that work. But job security, so don't misinterpret with anything like nothing to do with the career advancements or anything. Definitely you need to have a job to have the enhancements in the career. You need to have the experience and everything. But in terms of financial, in terms of the personal finance, so job security, that doesn't exist
in real world.
Yeah, it's a misnomer actually. It's a misnomer to the fact that people think that you get a job, you're secure for life. Unfortunately, it is not, right? And that's something that you need to understand early on in your career.
Yeah, excellent. So what is the, so right now it's the eighth wonder of this world. What is the eighth wonder of this world? So Jittu and Hari, so when we were in 1996, the Gene movie that came, right? Gene's movie. That
Aishwarya Rai.
So we were told Aishwarya Rai was the eighth wonder of this world, right? so here, so this is the definition, So what is compound interest? So we need to, so this is the eighth wonder of the world. So according to Einstein, so nobody can say this more beautifully than Einstein, that this compound interest, that's the eighth wonder of the world. And who understands it earns it, and who doesn't pays it. So if you understand this to the core, I think we don't need to have the remaining part of the session, or everything is covered in this one. So the complete financial wisdom is covered in this. If you understand this to the core, we'll go on to the next thing. Hari. Yeah.
So while we are going into the next one, right, I want you to understand one thing, right? Commonly people say that, money makes money. He has a lot of money, that's why he's making money. So that concept of money makes money is actually nothing but compounding interest. So when you put the basic money, like you put 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees, right, that will generate an interest that generates further interest. So it's compounding like that. Yeah, go ahead, Veera.
That's right. In the previous slide, I had one nice quote,
Yeah,
it was from
Benjamin
Franklin, who described for the compound interest. He said, money makes money, and the money that makes money. And this is the most simplest explanation of the compound interest. So you all get this, right? So there is we all learned the formula in our schools, and so what it means, right? So what it can bring to us. So so understanding the GC factor. So what is a GC factor? So this is a say this is a compounded growth, right? So the compounded this is not only for anything with the stocks or fixed deposits or anything like that. So anything whatever we do, anything that's powerful in the world, that is with the that has a compound factor that is embedded into that. So whether you take it's Facebook generating the Tamil matrimony, or even the all the viral factors whatever we have in the world today. So everything has its compounding factor
associated.
Associated. So when we take this Warren Buffett his famous quote, so most of the most of us think Warren Buffett, he is one of the world wealthiest investor of our times, and then we think he's a very good, he's very genius in stock picking, or he's a good stock picker, or he's a good value based investor. But his this is his quote, right? My wealth has come from the combination of living in America, some lucky genes, and compound interest. So that means, well, what it means. So that means Warren Buffett. So to put it into perspective, so it's about like $10,000. If I invested $10,000 in Warren Buffett company, that would be worth like $88 million today. So that's typically this is like a lottery ticket, right? So, but this was not it was not like an overnight success, or it was not something that came in suddenly. So this was over the time, and then this is a very good example of how he harnessed the power of compound interest in his business and in his investment principle. So that's what we need to. This is a real takeaway for us, right? It's not. We need not be very smart in picking stocks, or we need not be very smart in making investment decisions. Once we understand the very core principles of the compound interest, that should take the remaining lead. For any business or for any thing. Say for example, here I gave an illustration. Can you go back to the previous slide, Hari? Yeah. So here I give illustration, right? So what happens to if you invest $1 a day for another 66 years? How much money you can accumulate with that? So when you just we don't do anything, we want to be very ultra conservative, right? All we have is like it's a $24,000 that was totally invested, and that is sitting in your locker or in your mattress, right? So that's the thing. Whereas you still invest $1 a day, and then you find the investments a tax deferred investment for 20% on a 20% annual return. Right? Say you invest in some business, or you are doing some business, or in real estate or something. So that is equal to $1 billion. Can you believe that? So that means $1 whatever you invest today. So that means after 66 years, that is equal to $40,000 per day. So that's a power that it brings. Just to put things in the perspective. So that means this technique, if you understand this factor, it is not very limited to the investments. Suppose we have a company which we do digital marketing, and then we have like other yeah. So what we do is there is a return on investment. See, we calculate a return on investment for the initial campaign. Suppose we are running a campaign to acquire more customers for our products. Say we start our campaigns with the $2,000. Then we see the return on investment for this $2,000. Then we reinvest a portion of that again into the same campaign. Then it compounds that, right? So the campaigns order we start in $2,000. That can go up to within 6 months for a product rollout. It can go up to $2 million in 6 to 8 months. If you do that correctly, and that's a completely it's a different topic. It's a viral factor. And this is this is another slide we want to cover quickly, and I don't want to put any more comments or anything on this, how it can work negatively against you. So this is a very good example, and I'm a very big fan of Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, and all this big celebrities. But it comes to their financial management. So it's about losing $500 million. That is not, it's humanly impossible to spend that amount. So whatever you do, whatever you want to enjoy in your life, it's humanly impossible for us to lose $100 million. And for and this can happen only if a compound interest that has to work against you. So that depends on the choices you make, on the interest rates, on the debts, the choices of the properties or products, whatever you make, that all makes a difference. And it's not only for the individuals, it's it's common for organizations like Toys R Us, Lehman Brothers, or for the matter even the nations, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, state governments, and anything. Financial management is not for it's not only for
correct
individual, it's even for management. Yeah. Okay. Now understanding the good debt versus bad debt. Yeah, leave it. What is a good debt versus what is a bad debt? Hari, Jitu, anybody else?
Yeah, anything that you're investing in yourself or into something that's going to give you return, more return on investment is positive, right? That is called a good debt. And obviously a bad debt is something that is going to actually lose its value over a period of time.
Yeah, so you talked about, Veera, the time value of money. What does $1 mean today? $1 mean in future? So a good debt means that $1 will become $1,000 or $10,000, but a bad dollar means bad debt means that $1 will lose in value. So today's car, which I buy for $10,000, would become $5,000 right next in 2 months or in next 2 years. So that is bad debt. So you need it, but do you have to spend the necessary amount for a normal car that helps you with the commute, or you want to buy a crazy sports car and spend so much of amount? So good debt and bad debt is all about the value of money and how we choose our decisions.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And the money, the money. So we want to be conservative, right? When we came to this country, mostly, Hari and myself, we came to this country in the same timing, right? So when we came to this country, dollar rate was about like a 35 or 40 rupees per dollar, right? And today it's almost like a double the size. And then in 2000, when we went to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, the coffee there was $1. So today it's about like a $2.25. So that means in about 20 years back, whatever we were able to buy with the same amount, today we are able to buy only 1/4 of that, or it's so that's a inflation. So that means if we keep something that is like a static, that goes that has its own, it's like a very corrosive in nature, so it just evaporates. That's it, with the inflations and a lot of other factors around that. So you are right with the good debts. So where we make a very clear choices, and clearly we take the expert advice on what is a good debt, what is a bad debt, and then when we buy the property, we have to just mark the line. Yeah, go to the next page. Yeah. So bottom line of everything that it comes to the investments, right? So whether you invest the time or invest your money, so bottom line is like it's come to the investment game. So is the investment game IPL or a golf? So the IPL, everybody likes IPL. I am a very big fan of IPL and T20 matches. It's so exciting. So I love watching this, and but here the nature of the game is every ball and every move that has to be played, that has to be against an opponent, right? So not only with the IPL, cricket, if it's the same with tennis, it's same with soccer. So always, we have to be playing against an opponent in a continuous basis. Versus, the players, they have the age limit in this game as well to be active in the game. Suppose, so your active span on this game is from like a 16 years of age to about like a 30-35 years, and then and after that you have to be retired, and we cannot play that active game, whether it can be like a soccer or a cricket or anything like that. And it's not it's not very easy for a common man to play against a trained or a professional player, right? So if I cannot bat against Dhoni, or I cannot face a fast bowling against it's very difficult to play against a trained player, and then the players, the professional players are fairly rich. They must be his net worth is about like $109 million, right? So here versus, if you take a golf, it's a very, if you watch a PGA tournament, it's very boring to watch. And then, but the nature of the game is you don't need to play against any opponent. That's a very important part of it, right? It's so you have your golf iron, you have the ball, and it's your full control. It's your full force. It's completely, it's your judgment, and it's up to the terrain and the environment. It's natural. So you study the environment, you get trained with your controls, and then you make the right choices with the instruments, whatever you carry, and then that's what it is. And then this has other characteristics, right? So the players, they don't have any age limits to be active in the game. As long as you can walk, you can be active in the game. You can play you can play that, right? So it can be a kid, or it can be a senior citizen can play this game. And any common man can beat a world champion in a single game, right? So if we play with Tiger Woods, by fluke, I can win by luck, by luck, or it's not that trained player. So trained player, they make consistent wins, but there are situations where the world champions may lose, or common man can beat world champions. And then the players are very ultra rich. If you compare, think about this, right? So if Dhoni, he is worth $111 million. Tiger Woods is worth more than $1 billion, and he's like 8x richer, more. His net worth is more 8x more than Dhoni. The reason to bring just to trigger your thought process. So it's not what it means with operational business versus an investment business. So just to give an idea of to put that into perspective. So this is an illustration. So it's like any operational business is like playing active sport, like a cricket or a soccer, versus the investment game is a very slow, steady, and it's a very long run, like a golf. It's a golf game. So everything depends on your controls and your skills. Okay. Now, to have the investment vehicles, we need to have a good understanding with the financial markets of what it can bring to us. So generally, if you talk about financial markets, right? So if you say, Hari, 10 years, 20 years back, we went to our parents and we say, I want to invest in my stock market. Just give me 10 lakh rupees. Like, well, what would be the answer? Say, and if you ask your father, what would be his answer?
First of all, he would have said, I don't have that much of amount of money. And he would say, no, don't do it in the stock market. You will lose it. It's gambling. So don't do that.
Yeah. So that's absolutely right? So I don't blame this, because see, the people, they take the financial market as a gambling house. Even today I deal with a lot of brokers. I deal with a lot of financial institutions. They just do gambling. They don't have a proper risk management, and then just they take a very leveraged bets on a lot of things, right? Say you have $150,000 in your portfolio margin account. You can trade up to $1 million worth of asset base. So how you use the leverage, and then with the compounding effect that works against you or with you, that makes an absolute success or a failure in the financial markets. And to be cautious, the active traders in the financial market, almost more than 80% of the traders, they lose money in the long term. It's very difficult to beat the market or to time the market. But these are like a very good to see the positive sides and the opportunities. Whatever, if you look this as a wonderland of opportunities, just to give us two examples, right? So since we are talking about the personal finance, so who is the world record holder in the stock market portfolio appreciation? It's Dan, right? So he took this less than 2 years. He turned $10,000 into $80 million. So he is the world record holder in the trading. So, and then Larry Williams, I hope it's a familiar name. He's into the politics and a lot of things here in US. And he won the world championship in the futures trading contest. So he turned $10,000 into $1.1 million in a 12-month competition with the real money. Later, his daughter, she's an actress, Michelle. She won the same contest with, I think for much less than that average. How these people, they are able to do this or to able to beat this market? Are they good in technical? Are they do they have something that is like a very extraordinary to do? So what makes them so special, or what is bringing the extraordinary results for them, right? So this all comes to risk management, how they control the risk. So that means Larry Williams, he had a lot of losing trades. right? Then he had a lot of losing trades in this one. So, at least like a 60% of the losing trades, but still they are able to make to that performance levels. It's because the risk management, whatever, it makes all the difference. And then that's the whole takeaway in this entire in these sessions, right? So you understand first what we can say is we can understand the risk appetite, personal risk appetite. So whether we, when we are early in our careers and then we have like a less money to start with, you start with the fixed, start with the paper trading, right? So suppose you don't have any money but to gather the knowledge, you start with the paper trading, right? So you have some money, then you define your. Can you go back to the previous slide, Hari? So you start when you start with the habit of having the calculated risk and having the fixed risk capital. So the fixed risk capital in the sense, so you have a say like 1 lakh that is allocated to trade in the market or to have in some investments, right? So you have your deal limiters very set. So if you lose more than 8% in a month, or if I don't make a trade that is more than like a 1% lose in a trade, right? So that's where we have to define the risk. So it's not about this is not about risk management. Just be cautious of. So if you are into the market, just be aware that you need to be very good and strong in the risk management. And then there are like when it comes to the market, there are like you can make money when the market is going up. You can make money still when the market is going down. And there are like instruments, the derivatives where you can make money when the market is in the sideways. So based on all the environments, so these are the three things the market can do, right? So it can go up, down, or in the sideways. It cannot go backwards. So thing is, over the time, whatever you can make out of this, these are the things. And then there are like a new innovative instruments that are in the markets today, and that is accessible for even for a average retail investor. So you can participate in these instruments where you can have the full upside potential in the market with a zero downside risk. These are possible reality in today's world. So explore all these instruments that is available in the markets, and then have a good understanding of it and what leverage it brings in, what risk reward it gets you. You need to have a clear understanding of this. And then not only the markets. If the idea here is not to for the students, especially don't shy away from the financial markets. So classifying this as a gambling house or the perception that has to change. It's a powerhouse of huge opportunity. Not only in the trading or in the investment side of it, even with the technology side of it, right? So today the technology is so transparent. And then you can whatever the pit traders, they used to have the access to the data. I can make that subscription for $20-30, and I can access the same data with my computer, and I can trade equally, right? And then there's plenty of opportunity with the artificial intelligence, blockchain technologies, and with the data science, and that's completely endless. It's just explore this. And then we can with this should we cover anything? I think I think here this is the boundary for United States. Say I'm not supposed to give unless I am a certified financial advisor. I'm not supposed to give any advice on any instruments or anything like that. I pass on all this the rest of the present slides to to highlight. And
no problem. So I think all of you heard about the different strategies, different things behind stock market and everything. It is a gambling when you don't have enough information, right? So if the key is you want to go and do anything, like even if you want to do engineering, right? If you do not have the proper background, it's a gambling. But if you're equipped with knowledge and power, right, that knowledge is your power, and that helps you do better decisions. Now, after hearing all the theoretical portions of how to leverage money, how to do compound interest and everything in the Indian market, what do you want to do next, right? What do you do next? So the first thing is to understand what are the different types of instruments that are there. When I say instruments is what are the options that you have in the market. So market, please understand, it is the financial markets or the stock exchange or stock markets that we're talking about. So the traditional thing, if you go and ask our parents, right? Like when I used to go and ask my dad, I have extra 1,000 rupees, right? From my first job I got. What should I do? He will say, go and put it in a fixed deposit, FD, right? Now, that is the most slowest way of earning your money or compounding your money. So different options that are there are the ones that I've listed on the screen, right? One is FD, which is the fixed deposit. Then you have liquid short-term funds, right? Then you also have something called bonds. So what are these FDs, liquid short-term funds? These are funds that you require for 6 months or any emergency that you require, right? So I'll explain and to get into more details down the line, but I'll just want to list it out for you now. Bonds are nothing but government issued bonds or company issued bonds. Each of these bonds will have different types of ratings based on your risk appetite. You can go and do these. You can invest in these portions, right? Next one would be ELSS, right? Equity linked saving schemes. So these are tax savings things that come up. So as soon as you get a job, everybody's going to come to you and say, hey, you know what, invest this money in LIC, do this and this. So that is one way, right? The other way is to go and do the equity linked saving schemes. And that is nothing but that will allow you a foothold into the market. At the same time, it will also enable you to save some tax. You can come back and say, you know what, hey, Jitu and team, I don't have time to go and study or invest into the stock market, or my risk is very low, right? Then what do I do? How do I take advantage of these markets? That time is when you get into the mutual funds, right? Mutual funds is nothing but what happens is there is a company that is collecting money from a lot of people and they're investing it. Okay, I'm giving you these explanations as a very layman terms. Do not quote me as a technical expertise on this, right? I'm not a financial expert here, but the point is these are the different avenues that are available to you that you can use, right? The next, I have a little bit more risk appetite, right? In that case, what do I do is I go into stocks. Stocks is nothing but, it is the most inflation proof way of multiplying your money. It also means that you're owning a part of that business. So technically, when somebody is entering into a stock, the knowledge or the suggestion is that understand what that business is, right? There are different concepts in stock market investing. The most common one is the value-based investing or value investing. All the big guys like Benjamin Graham or Warren Buffett, or in India itself, Ramesh Damani. Ramesh Damani is the DMart owner, okay, or Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. These are all the typical big players in the stock market, right? All these people follow something called as value-based investing. Hari, you want to go to the next one? So now, obviously, why I have explained these different instruments is each instrument is going to help you in a different scenario. Okay, so you should also invest in gold. Gold is also called as bullion, right? When you say gold, you don't want to go and buy jewelry, right? What the most tested way of buying gold is to keep it as in the gold ETFs or any other. The reason why we keep gold is because gold doesn't lose its value, right? Gold's value is always going to be appreciating in the world, right? Then you should have some sort of real estate investments. There is something called pension funds, right? You should also look at pensions. Insurance is one, term insurance, medical insurances, right? Hari, go to the next one. I'm just covering it faster, and then I'll come back to. So what those are the instruments. Now, what are some of the guidelines in your finance, right? The moment you get out of your college and you start into a job, the first rule of thumb you need to follow is pay yourselves first, right? So in the sense, let's say if you make 50,000 rupees as your monthly salary, you are going to first keep a separate account and move some money into that account. What is a good way of what is a benchmark or a guideline of moving the money, right? 20% of your monthly income. If you can move that aside, that's a good one. Let's say you have loans, you have education loans, you have difficulty at your home and other things, you can't move 20%. Doesn't matter. Start with what you can, even if it is 5%, right? So start that process, because it is the discipline and the compound interest that is really going to work in your favor. Okay, do that. So the first step that I would tell anybody is, go first do a risk profiling of yourself. Where do you go and do risk profiling? Go to internet, any of these big companies like HDFC or ICICI or any of these banks, right? If you go into their investing portfolio way, they will have something called as risk profiling. Go and do your risk analysis. What it will tell you is, how much amount of risk are you willing to take, right? It will give you on a scale, it will tell you your scale, right? Where you are. Like, are you a high risk person or an average risk or a low risk person? So based on that risk, you will define what instrument you're going to invest your money in, because then you're going to have peace of mind, right? Now so that when you look at the instruments, they're typically broken down into equity instruments, debt instruments, right? Predominantly. There are others like real estate and gold and other things. So the debt is nothing but, again, FDs and bonds, and the other ones are separately. So once you start investing this 20% of money, you're saving this money, right? You need to keep a thumb rule of 6 months. 6 months of your monthly income has to be kept as an emergency fund, right? And it needs to stay in some sort of a liquid fund, or something that you can use immediately. Why? Remember Veera talking about the job security and income security? What if you lose a job tomorrow, right? Corona is a classic case. So companies have just shut down and they said, you know what, we're not going to pay you because we don't have money. What do you do, right? You cannot, at that time, your loans have to run, your house has to run, you have other expenses that you need to take care, your mobile bill has to be paid, internet has to be paid, right? This is the fund that you're going to put your hand into, this emergency fund. You don't want to go and touch your the savings or other things that you've kept. You will use this emergency 6 months fund. Let's say you've reached your 6 months income, right? You've saved that money. What additional money do I do with what is additional that I have? I will go look at gold, bond, real estate, whatever it is, based on my risk profiling, right? Now, like I said earlier, do not buy gold in the form of jewelry, because there's a lot of wastage and making charges and other things. Always buy in certain terms of gold ETFs, or ETFs is an exchange traded fund. Okay, it's a virtual gold that you own, and it is 99%, but it also helps you sell it quickly in the market and make the money. It's just another sort of a liquid fund, right? How do you want to move to the next one? And obviously there are no locker charges for keeping the physical gold, right? That's the other thing. The other and equity instruments I'll cover at the end. Okay, one other guideline that I want to leave you with is, please do not mix your insurance with your money saving or investments. So what is typically going to happen is, the moment you get a job, there is going to be a relative or a father's friend or somebody who's going to come to you, who's going to be an LIC agent or any of the company's agent. He'll come and try to sell you instruments like insurance. They'll say, oh, we have a good money back scheme, we have this, we have that, right? Do your evaluation of it, right? I tell people, do your evaluation of it, and the best way and the most successful way of doing it is to keep your insurance instrument separate and your money saving instrument separate. So what do? You technically take a term plan. Your term plan is your insurance coverage if something goes wrong for you. People whom you love, your family, would be safe from any of the loans or anything. Typically that gives you the maximum coverage. The problem with the term coverage or the issue with the term plans are, if you live at the end of 60 or 70 years, whenever your policy is ending, you lose that money, you don't get it. But the premiums are very low when you start early, right? So that is a typical thing. This is just not for the guys, it is also applicable for the women, because right now everybody is working, right? And everybody has their own expenses, and you want to be ready and prepared for a bad day, right? Medical insurance, right? I recommend people to buy medical insurances earlier. Most of the companies in India provide insurance, but please understand, when you change jobs for a period of time, you're not going to have any insurance available to you, right? And a lot of the things, sometimes they may not be even covered. So always keep a medical insurance on the side. And the beauty with medical insurance is, as you start increasing, they start giving you bonuses and coverages, so it helps you, right? Now, the other point that I want to talk about is, there is a concept called urgent and important, right? Urgent is to go and take care of things that is happening right now. And important are something that is for a long term, right? So to give you an example from what Veera did, right? He spoke about IPL and golf, right? Golf is a long term, like it's a boring long term one, but IPL is interesting and short term and quick. Say on the same analogy, right? Urgent is something that is quick and important, and important things are something that is for long term. Now, we have a tendency to focus on the urgent and right now things. In the whole process, what happens is we miss out on the important ones for long term. So your pension is the time when you cannot work, you're physically weak, and at that time you need money and source of income, right? In the Western world, you have something called pensions and social securities and other things. In India, you don't have that. You only have PF, right? And how many people really keep their PF for 30 years or 20 years? So the key is to invest in some sort of pension funds from the start when you get the job and continue it, so that the compound interest works on your behalf, right? 8%, 9%, whatever that is, it will start working on your behalf. Hari, can we go to the next one? Now, one of the most important things is the equities market, right? And India is still a growing market. So this is the market that you need to be. And when everybody is talking about gambling or anything, they are technically reaching out to this equities market, right? Do not be afraid to take risks. That is a key thing that I want to let you know. Okay. Investing in stocks means investing in a business of that company. So you are not going to take your money and go and put it everywhere, right? You will only go and put where you understand the business and where you think will be the maximum return on investment, right? These are inflation proof. They will give you long-term wealth creations. Now, how do you go into stock markets, right? If you do not have lump sum money, that's fine. You can start something called as SIPs. It's called systemic investment plans. You keep small amount of money, and every month you keep investing. The key is to discipline. Bring out something called as rupee cost averaging. So when the market goes up, and the prices are high, you make less units. When the market goes down, and the prices come down, you buy more units, because the same amount of money that is being invested, right? You can read about these things, but start a SIP as soon as you get a job. You start it, identify and start. It could be as simple as 500 rupees, but look at it and invest it, and then you can slowly keep increasing it out, right? There is also something called systemic withdrawal plans. Things like you have a 6 months savings account that you've put the money into. You can set rules in such a way that after your 6 monthly amount is reached, the other amount will be automatically withdrawn and invested. Or you could take, let's say my goal is to keep a 1 lakh portfolio, right? After I reached 1 lakh, I can start selling units that I bought 5 years back and invest in somewhere else. You could look at those things also, right? If you have no time to go and research on the company because you're owning the company, right? You don't have time. What you can look at is the mutual fund route. Mutual funds will help you. You just have to do a basic thing, and there is somebody else who's actually doing your effort to do the work. Stocks typically are classified into 3 big ones: small caps, medium caps, and large caps. So the small caps are high risk, high return. So if your risk profile is high risk taker, you could look at small caps. They generate the maximum wealth. So if you look at Veera, in his introduction, he mentioned that he's a pre-IPO investor, right? So he's the ultra high risk category kind of an investor, because he's willing to take that risk at a very high level, right? So he's kind of that profile comes. There are people who are into low profiles, like large caps. They don't want to have too much risk associated with them, so they try to go for big companies like Infosys, TCS, GE, like that, these big companies. And what they do is they invest in these companies, knowing the fact that these companies will generate income, but at a very slower pace. Do you want to go to the next one? I know I'm covering a lot of things in this. So the key idea was to give you a background and overview of the different things that are available. In this, what happens is then you can start slowly working on building that. And remember, one of the things that is, at the end of every year, please balance the portfolio. Why I say balance the portfolio is because, the market would have changed, your personal situation would have changed. How do you handle that? How much amount of money you can invest, how much you want to withdraw, different scenarios in life come up. Look at all that, and that is the key there. Veera, you want to start with the takeaways?
Yeah, thank you, Jitu. So that's a very, it's a quick coverage of all the wisdom we gathered in, in the past years. There's a very, very concise, points. But it's maybe very little heavy to digest. But it's a very good content. So here the takeaways. So for the students, just the objective of this session, make the first and the best investment is expanding your knowledge, in the personal finance and the money management. So that's where everything starts. And then make the eighth wonder work for you and not against you, right? Make a resolution not to pay. Say today you make a resolution not to pay a single penny in interest rates, in interest for your credit card in your future. Just to have this takeaway, it will mean a lot. It will make a light years of difference in your financial life in the future. I'm telling you, after 20 years, I don't know, many of the students I may be interacting with, we may, but definitely it will make a very big impact in your financial lives. And then don't be afraid to take any risk. Okay, have educated, make a habit of taking calculated risk, take educated investment decisions, and then have a risk appetite always to have a bright financial futures. Also, start seeing the perception about the financial markets. You see that as vehicles of as powerhouse of big opportunities. At least you see that not only in the trading side of it, you have the vertical knowledge, you have the good understanding of the markets, how it works. There is like a lot of the vertical knowledge itself is so huge, and it has like a huge potential for technology and a lot of for new emerging innovations that can happen in that one. And then explore the new financial instruments, like there are like structured funds, options, derivatives. There are like recent innovations like fractional shares. Fractional shares in the sense, you buy Microsoft, say it's a stock is trading for $1,000, right? You can buy, if you have like a $1, you can buy a portion of the single share. So these are like new instruments that never existed 2-3 years back, and these are in the market. And literally, we can start the trading with a zero commissions in today's world. And then if you don't have, at least I strongly advise when you get into this financial markets or into the risk management, start your journey with with the paper trading and paper trading with you learn the risk management. And then we'll all enjoy watching IPL and T20, and then but slowly we start learning the art of playing golf. So I mean the long-term investment game. So yeah. That's it. 5 takeaways. Hope this helps in this one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and a couple of things that I want to give as a takeaway, right? One is not everybody makes or has money. It's a privilege. Please also share your wealth with the people who do not have the opportunity, in the sense, philanthropy or give back. You don't have to give all your wealth, but give a little portion of your wealth back to the society in any way that you can. And that's how money starts compounding for you too. Right? So remember that always. It need not be always money. It can also be in things that you're doing. Like, for example, Hari took this initiative of giving back, right? So it's a noble way. So try to learn to give back to the society, and it works back amazingly for you. That's number one that I want to let you know. Number two is learn the art of discipline, right? Discipline is the key. And doesn't matter how big or how small it is, but start it. Right? That first step is the key. The third thing that I want you to learn in this whole financial thing is, not everything that you do is going to be a success, right? There are going to be failures. please try to learn from a child, right? The child starts walking, it falls down. If it decides that I'm falling down and I will not walk, it will never walk in its life, right? The key with the child is it falls down, gets up, and walks again. So it's the same way in financial market. You're going to invest, you're going to sometimes lose money, sometimes you're going to make more money, but the key is to not make the same mistake again, learn from it, and try to improve on it. Those are the three key takeaways from my end. Hari, back to you. I think you're on mute. Hari, you're on mute.
Thank you very much, Jitu and Veera. It's amazing condensed amount of information. As you said, 25 years of history in 25 minutes, and you're putting together 25 points in 5 slides. It's amazing. I'm sure students may not be able to fully appreciate the depth of the content that is there right now, but even if they print out these slides and put it in their room and keep watching every day, I think they will slowly start connecting the pictures, learning the tricks of the trade. And when they grow in the career, they know, okay, this is why they said like this. This is what I need to do at this my age. So this session was going to be an eye-opener, and it was truly an eye-opener. What to do in terms of trading, how to save, how to invest, and where to invest, what are the options we have. You truly took something that is never taught in our college. I mean, I wish if this was taught to us 25 years back, right? And we all wish, I think, but we had to learn the hard way. But at least we have now given them an exposure. I think every time, periodically, if there are webinars conducted to make financially more aware, how to invest, how to trade, how to deal with money, I think the students will be able to become better at that also. So the way I see the connection now, as we enter into the Q&A panel, the way I see this connection is, Sachin talked about studying with intensity, studying with passion, performing with passion, and have a discipline. Preparation is your key. Preparation is your key. Have a study discipline. Then Prabhu Shankar talked about multiple engineering coming together to produce one medical equipment that saves life. That involves discipline. That involves discipline of multiple fields to put the information together to solve it. And then on the financial side, both of you stressed upon how important it is to maintain a financial discipline, have a knowledge of the finance, money management, and then play the long game. Play golf, not IPL. That was a key takeaway. So, it's the essence of information. So I would like to stop the sharing now, so that I would like people to see faces, and it makes much more interesting to see. So we are at 10:17. I would say around about another 10-15 minutes of Q&A, and we'll wrap it in 15 minutes. So first I want to bring Sachin and Prabhu, Veera, and Jitu on the call. Sachin, I would like to start with you. You know, when I think of IIM, or when the students think of IIM, they always think, oh, I don't know whether I can get it. I don't know whether I have the knowledge or smartness to get it. How much time do I need to spend every day? And so what do you recommend in terms of studying the number of hours? Is there something magic formula, or is it all about discipline? Is it all about planning well and preparing?
Okay. So unlike a lot of people think putting in 8 hours, 10 hours a day is not the right formula to do, because you're basically burning yourself out. You're not focusing on any other thing, and your only focus is on doing that preparation for that examination. So what I did in my first attempt was that, but in the second attempt, something very important happened in my life, was to get a right mentor. In every stage of your life, you have a good mentor. So I got a mentor who told me the joy that, how do you feel the joy in the preparation? It's not hard work, it's happiness when you love and do it. And probably I spent 2 to 3 hours every day, and sometimes even 2 hours, 1.5 hours a day over a week. And probably on Sundays, I spent an hour extra. But this was the initial phase of getting the basics right. Because in most of the entrance exams, what people don't realize is the content or your syllabus is basically your class 10 and below. You don't get advanced questions for most of these competitive exams. So you can put in limited hours, but do it with the discipline like you pointed out, and you're gonna get great results.
Awesome. I think when we had our conversation over phone, you brought an interesting thing in life and also interesting thing that happened, how you cracked the IIM interviews. People generally think that you need to be ultra smart to answer those questions. And you told me that you miserably failed in some of the questions they asked, and something suddenly that you started expressing caught their attention and made them think that you have something in you, that you are truly an IIM graduate. So what happened during your interview?
Okay, so the experience that you're narrating is from my IIM Kozhikode interview.
That's correct.
Again, that interview was like, yes, the interview, since I'm not an engineer, I'm a pharmacist. So once, not so many pharmacists go up, even in an IIM, you see 80-85% engineers. So when this professor saw me, he started asking me advanced questions on pharmacy, which probably was covered in the master's degree I had pursued once. So when there were so many questions on that front, by the time 15-20 minutes into the interview, I remember telling him around 10 times, sorry, sir, I do not know the answer. Sorry, I do not know the answer. I showed a sorry face. And he thought, okay, I've given up on this candidate. And when he relaxed, and when he was doing the closing conversations, like, okay, what are the interviews did you go for, and what do you want to do? And I told him there was another interview with Lucknow, which was very short. I did not get to speak about something that I love doing, which is Toastmastering, which you also are doing right now, recently. So I told him that Toastmasters is something that I love doing, and if you give an opportunity, I can talk about it. So from a almost dead interview, we picked it up from there, and the next 15 minutes was a turnaround. We discussed a lot of things about, I showed him a lot of achievements that I've done through Toastmasters, my newspaper articles and different stuff. And I showed him, see, in the real world, I'm doing something better. And maybe I did not know the answers for those questions, but given an opportunity, I'm keen to learn on all these technical aspects of my profession. And at the same time, I hope I'm given an opportunity, I'll never disappoint you. And that clicked, and I got an offer. And later I rejected that because I got an offer from Lucknow. That's another story, but this is what happened.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing that you started telling not only how the one Toastmaster club in Madurai that you started co-founding, but you also parented almost 7 to 8 more clubs during the many number of years. And now you are like a district officer helping out other clubs in the Madurai and Dindakal district. So it's how your communication skills, the way you answer it, the way you make your idea convincing to that interviewer. I think you made a great point, and your turnaround is almost like a Dhoni or Virat Kohli in any of our World Cup and IPL matches. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for your sharing that wonderful story. So we'll just quickly go back to Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question to you. Many of us in 1996, we passed out of the college. We did not know where to get the job, who to approach. There were no references to talk to. There were no mentors that Jeetu and Sachin was talking that you need to have a good mentor. We did not have anyone. And most of us looked around. We saw we have to go to some computer courses, NIT, Aptech, SSI. We went some computer courses, and after probably some people were able to get a job in 6 months. Some people were able to get a job in 1 year. So what you studied in college was totally different from what the industry was expecting. How did you manage to get into engineering job, and what has been your success mantra so far?
Thank you. As soon as we completed, and I had an interest to get on to an engineering job, which I have studied. So I was literally looking for something. I was, though some of you, many of you have started choosing software as a career. I was literally not interested, I should say. So I started moving towards it.
You want to prove us wrong.
Not really. So it is your own interest. So I was interested. like electrical engineering or the things what you studied in the college. I wanted to see it physically. So that is one of the reason why I chose that. And once you are into that, and this when I got into this field, I was not sure, what it is going to be. I was more keen that I am going to see like a transistor or a diode, how it is physically, because we have all studied it. I wanted to see how it looks physically. But having got into that, and today I don't even see transistors and diodes, but I see something else. Like you started seeing patients, images, and now this job has become like more satisfying to me today, that I want to continue doing this. So you pick up some interest on that.
Awesome, awesome. You're truly a good example, a role model for engineering students who want to pursue in the engineering path, that as long as you have a passion, as long as you know what you're looking for, start somewhere, see your interest, whether it matches, whether it helps you to grow. If not, change your path, change your direction, but make sure you know your goal to succeed. So thank you very much for sharing that wonderful experience, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Next time I'll come to Jitendra. Jitu, you are one of the most talkative guy in our class. We used to share a bunch, and we did not do same project. Prabhu
Yes.
and Krishna Kumar, who is on the call, and we all were part of the team, and with my M. Saravanan, we are part of neural networks. So what we studied neural networks back, now it is becoming a reality with artificial intelligence and machine learning. So you have been a more talkative, and you had a lot of fans, I should say, in the college time.
Really?
With talk and so forth. So how did you develop that natural flamboyant style? How did you develop your natural skill into more of now you're a senior client relationship manager, and you have almost traveled to 5 out of 7 continents in the world. There's only Antarctica which is left for you to just go and visit around. So how do you take your passion and skill, and how did you reach to this level?
Wow. Pretty loaded question. 24 years in a nutshell. Huh? Okay. So I think I'll go with all the speakers what they've talked about, right? Your natural instinct. So one of my passions is traveling. So, and obviously I knew early in my life that my dad cannot fund my travels. I'm from a very middle class family, right? So I realized that I have to figure out my passion and my career to be combined into it. So, IT was again not something that I had planned. I fell into it. To be honest, one of my colleagues, dad's colleague's son was into IT, and that's when I got into it. Honestly, there was no guidance or anything at that time. So what I did was, first and foremost, I realized was in the industry, right? Like Prabhu mentioned, communication is the key. As you start growing up, communication has to become better and better, right? And then there's a tip that I want to give to the viewers out here for the kids, right? A lot of us, when we come from the places where we study or our background or everything, right, we have something called MTI, mother tongue influence, right? And to get out of this mother tongue influence is a very big difficult thing. I'm actually a Keralite, right? And Keralites have this heavy Malayalam accent, if you know, right? But when I talk, you don't get to know that. The reason is, what I did is I followed a technique, right? Is to listen to what I read, and then so nowadays it's easier. So the technique that I want to have all the students or the people who want to improve their communication skill is, take a cell phone or a recorder, take the most boring piece of article in a newspaper, right, which is the editorial page. Read the editorial page loud and record it. After you record it, listen to it, right? When you start listening it, you will automatically know the mistakes. Nobody needs to come and tell you are really bad. You will know it. Okay, you will automatically start doing it for 21 days. You see how your language is changing, and this is the time tested thing that works. Now, how I did it is, I read it. There used to be something in the Hindu paper that used to come, know your language, on every Tuesdays. So I used to read that. That's how my communication improved. And my passion for travel is what I combined both of them. And as and when opportunities came, I just picked it. Now, in my circle, at least in earlier in Infosys and now in my current company, I am known for salvaging projects that are high risk and in disasters. So I take them out, I operationally make them better, and I bring it out. So I'm a hard worker. Absolutely, I can go with what Sachin mentioned. Like, once the opportunity is there with me, there is nobody who can work harder than me. I can vouch for it, right? I work my butt out, and I give my best. That's exactly what it is. So even this Canadian opportunity was something that came out. The senior vice president actually called up and said, you know what, we have this prestigious client, and it's critical for us. You go for it. And they didn't know that I had a Canadian permanent residence at that time, but it came in. I just took it and ran. I know it's a cold country, nobody wanted to come, but I just came.
Awesome,
So that's
awesome.
in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your passion and intensity there. I mean, within a few minutes, we can see how much energy you carry in your conversation, how much energy you carry around. And not many people would know, but during your after 5 years after college, you had some accident, and you did not give up. You did not give up. The way that you managed to bring yourself and take care of the healing, and then now you're kind of an inspiring role model. So I always found an aura around you, an energy of aura around you, and you make everyone brighter who is around you in the room. So thank you very much for that. Yeah. So do you think, I have one serious question. So people will say that you can find a Keralite in moon. So now that the Tesla guy and we are all going to Mars, do you think Keralite will reach Mars?
They're already there.
They're already there?
No. Yeah, I think it's the entrepreneurial spirit, not for anything else. It's the necessity, right? The state itself is communist and not too many opportunities, so people venture out for it. So
I see.
But
fantastic.
But I just want to connect it. Give me a minute, okay? I just want to connect to what you said before, right? The 6 years after my college, which I went through, right? It literally broke me down. So I don't want to get into the details of it, but I was financially well off at that time, and then something happened in my life wherein I came down to being broke, like literally zero, and I restarted my life back from 2005 again. So, and the reason I wanted to talk about that emergency fund, this and so passionate about the job security and income security is, I've gone through it and I've seen it, and most of them would crack and break down. It takes a lot of effort and willpower to come out of it. So don't take it lightly when you start. Please work on it.
Thank you very much, Jitu. Thank you so much. And now we're just in the last 5 minutes of our session. I sincerely ask apologies to Anand sir, just to ask one more question to Veera. I think it'll be a lot of insight. So Veera, civil engineer, did some construction under some assistance to chief project engineer, and suddenly you transformed into a serial entrepreneur. Someone who has connects in Hollywood, someone who has connects in Bollywood, someone who has connects in Indian press, someone who has connects in US press. You are an Emmy Award panel member, and you are a Guinness Book Record holder. I remember the days where you take a great photo during our college years, and you get us 1 or 2 days of leave. That's all I remember, and I think many of our batchmates remember. But now you took that passion, you made that as your Guinness Book Record holder information that you had the longest shot with a continuous longest shot. So, serial entrepreneur, passionate, you have helped so many people get jobs, and you have given jobs, you have taken many family out of poverty, and you have established a great career for them. How did you make this happen? What chose you to make this happen?
Thank you, Harry. Thank you, all the speakers. Especially, I have a lot of takeaways from. I have to thank the speakers. Especially with the Sachin Ji. play your natural game, right? So that's all it is, So it's a, we see. I started my civil engineering career in 1996, and then I was working in civil only. So I was with Laurie Becker, architect, and when I was in the college, I have so much used to this go to this photography competition, and I get the prize, and I go to Raghu sir's office. I go to, he was a director. I'll ask for a half a day holiday. He as soon as I enter his room, he will understand. Oh, this guy, he's coming for a holiday. So I am like a very not a good example for how a good student to be. So I'm to be. You all know my backgrounds, and I'm not a very bright student. I'm very average or a below average student, and if it's not with the civil discipline, I'm very sure that it would be very tough for me to finish my academics, at least to get a degree, but always we go with the passions, So when I started with the photography, then always the innovation component on that, always I admit to that. So that's my natural game, what I discovered during the course of my life, and then so I do this naturally. So right, so I started with civil engineering, then I came to US. Even with civil engineering, I worked with Laurie Becker architect, because I was so fond of getting into the low cost construction. So when I started my career, it was like a 600 rupees per square feet. They used to build a house, apartments for 600 rupees per square feet. So somebody was doing for less than 150 rupees per square feet. So I want to learn how. I want to learn the skill, right? So that's where it started. Then I went into the design. Then I went into the the IT. Then I worked for a key bank. Came to US, worked for Siemens. And then it's been almost 10 years. I started my own business, and that too, my initial business was with MediaSpace. MediaSpace. So that was to provide media services for all the publishing houses, the IPTV business, and a lot of So mainly the always I'm part of the innovation. So in the photography, I had the passion with the photography. So then with the photography, what innovations that can happen in the photography, that was always my thing. It's not, after I left my college, I didn't take good photographs, but always I'm behind the cameras in a lot of the first digital photograph that came in Anand Vigadan. That was with my first camera I bought in 2001 with the digital 1.3 megapixel Olympus camera. The first movie that came in 2007 with the red camera, so I had a major contribution bringing that camera. And then 2014 we made a Guinness record for the longest continual live visual in the TV. With the Sun TV we did a project, and it was a very huge high risk, but it was a very huge success. And then 2016, when A.R. Rahman, the maestro, he was here. He was in the UN. I did the coverage in the first mobile journalism. So I was having I couldn't take a big professional camera into the United Nations headquarters, so I have to take my packet. What do you call it? During the time I had like a iPhone 6 Plus, I think. So I did the coverage, the entire coverage for 3 days, and whatever you saw with the team for the 3 days, that entirely that came out of all the interviews and everything that came out of that small. So then we developed the app for the mobile journalism. So and then that's the way. Even today, we always see what new cameras in the market, and what the Panasonic Pericam can do. So it's always about the new things and the innovations, whatever it comes in, that fascinates me and that keeps me driving. And always, as I said, always conscious of the markets and the active, the financials. That's all it is.
Thank you so much, Veera. Innovation, a role model for our PSNE students from our own alumni on how passion, innovation, and how the technology awareness and the industry awareness can take one to greater scales. I am sure that looking at you, Prabhu Shankar, Jitu, and Mr. Sachin, we all can learn from a lot. I just want to ask Krishna Kumar the final concluding question. Krishna Kumar, are you on the call? Would you like to have any final question to the speakers?
Yeah, definitely, Hari. Just wanted to ask Prabhu one question. So, hi, Prabhu. Meeting you.
Hi.
We'll catch up later. Just to, I just wanted to ask, now the data science and artificial intelligence are all coming in a big way. And what I get to understand is these are all going to revolutionize the medical industry. And I'm just trying to understand how this is going to affect the field, the medical equipment field.
True. Yeah. Today, the image what you saw on one of the slides, the first slide where you saw an MRI picture and then an image. So the image, basically the doctor uses that to diagnose, and it gives you different contrast based on the anatomy or any abnormalities. Today, artificial intelligence or deep learning is heavily implemented in that. And in fact, GE has launched a platform called Edison, which is being used widely now. Started using. This is going to actually revolutionize the imaging industry. Probably it will cut down cost, and probably the availability of these new technologies will go to wider areas. Yes, it is going to definitely revolutionize the industry.
So if I understand, this is going to add more value and reduce the cost for the patients,
reduce the
companies.
True.
Okay, great. And one last question to Sachin. Sachin, I just wanted to understand one thing, how you have kept your body and mind during your preparation, because these are most important faculties that constitute and help in our success. Can you just help us understand, like, how you been able to keep that in a harmonious way, or whatever, in a conducive way for your studies and improving yourself, your knowledge?
Okay, thanks for the question, and I'll keep it very short. I know we are running short of time. I'll keep it very short. There are a couple of things to the physical part and the mental health part. From a physical standpoint, I'm blessed to have very nice parents, and my mom is a wonderful cook. So I was just staying at home, and right now we're all adapting to the online format. We are doing Zoom meetings and stuff. But back in 2016, I prepared for my exam completely online. So I signed up for an online course, which is based in Chennai, and I was in Madurai. So I signed up for an online course. I studied from home, and and my father is a big believer of having a routine, waking up early in the morning and doing your physical activity and stuff like that. So it was not difficult, because unlike people like you or people, when I'm in the work environment, there's so many things to juggle. That time there were little few things to be focusing on. So the physical health part was very easy. From a mental standpoint, I had to divert my thoughts from that preparation. It's not like I should be thinking of the preparation 100% all the time. So I try to juggle it with having some fun with friends, and that's where Toastmasters happened, focusing on Toastmasters, improving my public speaking skills, and starting clubs across. We started a lot of clubs across Tamil Nadu. So that was happening, and movies, music. So mental health, that's what happens. So what I'm realizing right now is when you're working, it's even difficult to do that. That time it was easier. Right now it's difficult. So I'm still trying to get into a routine now, cycling in the morning and stuff like that. But then it was quite easy. It's not a challenge.
Thank you very, very much, Sachin. And thank you, Krishna, for wonderful questions. With that, I would like to hand over our conversation to Dr. Kannan sir to share a few words, and then we can close the call with Marilyn ma'am conclusion. Kannan sir, would you like to share any few words?
Yes, Hari. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Today, really, I enjoyed the session. For a period of half an hour, I was away from the meeting for another meeting. Sachin Sundar Nagaraju is the youngest person in this team. He has given a very good guidance for PG studies and how to crack that entrance. It was wonderful. And if you are talking about the Prabhu Shankar, he opened the entire MRI scanner and displayed live. I could understand what is happening inside that machine. So really it is consisting of many engineering jobs in that healthcare division. He has given a clear-cut idea about the scanner and hardware in detail. Wonderful presentation. And I take this opportunity to congratulate our boys, Veerabhadra Kumar and Jitu Nair. Really, they have given a very wide range of things on money. They are really the masters of money. Veerabhadra Kumar made it as a personal finance success. And Jitu has given a clear-cut idea about this liquidity fund, don't mix with insurance and investments and systematic investment plan, and how to take risks. Small caps 10%, medium 20%, large 60 to 70%. Wonderful idea. The takeaways, in the takeaway section, Jitu has given very clear cut. Give back to the society what you all are doing. 96 batch. I really proud of you all. Then learn the art of discipline. Then everything what you do is not success. Really, even myself learned a lot with this thing. Veera has done a wonderful thing. I understood that he is doing wonderful things on this serial and other things. It's a very, very wonderful talk. Today we had a wonderful sessions. Thank you very much for all your support on 1990 Next. Thank you very. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for all your support from management as well as an alumni staff team and coordination team. And once again, thank you, Sachin. Thank you, Jitu and Veera and Prabhu and Krishna Kumar for joining and participating in the session. I hand over to Ms. Marilyn ma'am to do the final conclusion.
Yes, sir. Thank you all. Thank you all for sharing your insights and experience with us. And I think this session brought a great idea to the students for the postgraduate entrance exams and how to crack the exams and the opportunities available in the healthcare industries and how to handle the money and how to do financial management and all those things. All these things are explained very nicely. Thank you all for spending your valuable time with us. We are coming to the end of this session. I'd like to thank our pro-chairman sir and principal sir and our alumni association in charge, Dr. Kannan sir, for their support. On behalf of PSNA College of Engineering and Technology, I would like to thank all the panel of speakers. Mr. Sachin sir, Mr. Veerabhadra, thank you all. And I would like to thank all the student participants and faculties. Thank you all once again. We will see you in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day and wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye.